I've never been skiing, so I've never done anything with my hands in poles. I mean, I've done the elliptical. Does that count? No? Maybe? Probably not? Okay. What is up, everyone? This is Tiffany with thegearlady.com, and today we are talking about my very first time trying snowshoeing. It was such a blast, and I highly recommend it to anyone looking to get outside and move their body in the winter, but I'm not gonna lie, mistakes were made. I want to talk to you about my experience and the things that I learned by doing it for the first time, all of the things that I took and I wore, everything you need to know before you go snowshoeing for the first time. Make sure you learn from my mistakes, and hopefully those of you that try it after watching this are gonna be even more prepared than I was, and hopefully have an even better time than I had. And I had a heck of a time, so you're gonna have just an amazing time. You're welcome. For those of you that have been to my channel before, you know that I love to adventure and try new things, and I created the Gear Lady because I'm trying to normalize newbie. I'm sharing all of my adventures with you guys and taking you along as I'm a total newbie, and hopefully show you that you too can get out of your comfort zone and try new things. Listen, when you start something for the first time, you're probably not gonna be that great, and you're probably gonna make some mistakes, as I did with snowshoeing, the details. I'm so glad I went, and I had such an amazing time, and I'm gonna be even better the next time that I go. The biggest piece of advice that every person gave me about snowshoeing was do not go unless it snows. Fresh snow, fresh powder is really where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck with snowshoes. I figured while I'm telling you about the experience, I can just show you exactly what I wore. So, first things first, base layer, you want moisture wicking fabric. So you want to be wearing a sports bra if you're a lady, and leggings. I always wear moisture wicking leggings. So the shirt that I wear for my winter adventuring is always this 32-degree heat base layer. I actually purchased this from Costco, and I just purchased myself a new 2-pack because I'm wearing them so often, and ain't nobody got time to be doing laundry all the time. You know what I mean? So the reason your base layer is so important is because if you have a moisture wicking fabric, if it does get wet, then it's going to wick that moisture, so therefore it's gonna help you just like stay warmer overall and drier. When you go snowshoeing, you want to make sure that you're wearing enough layers. I always recommend that you put more layers on that you can always remove if you want to, but I prefer that than getting out on the mountain and I don't have enough and you're just like, ugh. So I wore this little Nike hoodie, and it is moisture wicking. I have a different Nike hoodie that's fleece lined that is actually my preference, but to be honest, it wasn't clean that day. So this is what I had to wear. You have something that zips down. I would recommend that because if you're getting toasty while you're snowshoeing, you can just unzip it. Now keep in mind this was dirty, so I was wearing this hoodie. That is kind of my very bottom base layers. But when we got to our snowshoe location, I did add an additional pair of fleece lined leggings. So I added these because I needed a little bit more warmth. Now, this is where mistake number 1 occurred. These are fleece lined leggings, but they are not moisture wicking. So therefore they were not ideal for my outside pair of pants. Ideally, you would want something that's moisture wicking on the outside. So mistake number 1. I'm gonna link you down to some pants that I'm actually purchasing right now. We'll do a review here soon, but these are the pants that my friends wore when we went snowshoeing, and they were absolutely fantastic. If you're looking to go, I would recommend you get these pairs of pants in advance. However, don't let your gear be a deterrent from going. I wore this and I was just fine. So there's one piece of gear that is absolutely crucial for when you go snowshoeing: socks. If you think about it, you're snowshoeing, so you're walking through the snow. The body part that is going to be the most prone to getting cold is actually your feet. So these are wool socks, and I will link a few pairs of wool socks that I recommend down below, but I highly recommend that you invest in a quality pair of wool socks for all of your winter adventuring, but like especially if you're going to do any type of snowshoeing. Snowshoeing, such a good workout. I'm telling you, like booty burner workout. These are the ones that I wore. Tommy Hilfiger, you know, stylish while I'm out there snowshoeing. So these are the boots. Definitely, I wouldn't say that they're ideal for snowshoeing, but they worked totally great. As you can see from the design, They're like fairly waterproof, except the one area that I knew for sure was going to be very prone for getting wet and cold and snow everywhere was at the top of the boot. So the main purchase that I had to make for snowshoeing, and I'm so glad that I made this purchase, was to get boot gaiters. Boot gaiters are a must-have when you're doing winter hiking or snowshoeing. Don't go without gaiters, just don't. If you do, make sure you're wearing snow pants, okay? So these gaiters, as you can see, go up over your boot. Dang it, I put that on the wrong foot. Da, 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 da. Because my friend had texted me and I got it so late at night, I had to run to Shields and buy whatever they had available. This is where mistake number 2 comes in. Unfortunately, they only had a men's size large gaiter. You see this thing? It's massive. So mistake number 2 was going last minute to buy gaiters and purchasing men's size large that don't exactly fit me, but again, I don't regret going still because it was so great. They definitely have to be cinched to the max. It's a good investment that I made into my gear. Oh, mistakes were made. That brings us to mistake number 3. I recently purchased some glove liners for underneath my gloves, but when we got there, I couldn't find them. And so my hands were freezing. Don't worry, I ended up finding them, so I did have them when we were out and about. That was a mistake that I made because my hands were so cold and it took quite a while before they warmed up. When you go, absolutely make sure that you have glove liners. These particular gloves do have the touchscreen capabilities. I highly recommend them. I will link them down below. You definitely want to make sure you have some type of beanie because it's freezing and you want to keep your ears warm. And then of course I had my coat. And if you've seen my video where I do a snowboard try-on haul, you've seen my coat before and you already know all about the armpit vents. But if you're new here, this coat has armpit vents and I'm telling you, it is a game changer. So similar to the reason why I would recommend you have a zip-up hoodie, it's kind of the same idea with the armpit vents. If you're getting a little bit toasty as you're moving around, you can unzip those. That is a must-have for snowshoeing because you never know what the conditions are gonna be like, and even when you go out, that's gonna kind of change. Guys, this brings me to my last and what I would say was my biggest mistake that I made when I went snowshoeing. I forgot sunglasses. Guys, when you are snowshoeing, especially on a bright day, the sun is just beating down on the snow and it is just like, oh my gosh, I'm sure I have a little bit of some eye damage because of this. Make sure that you bring sunglasses snowshoeing. You're not walking quickly enough that you need big old goggles, but definitely sunglasses are a must-have when you're going snowshoeing. The last piece of gear that I had was my gloves with my wrist straps. I will link those down below. I'm telling you, the wrist straps for the gloves were a necessity. I'm hot, I'm indoors. So I'm gonna take this off, but you've seen the full getup. And the last piece of gear that you need is your snowshoes. Okay, so all snowshoes have 3 things in common: a frame and a deck, bindings that hold your foot in place, and then crampons. And each pair of snowshoes is going to vary a little bit depending on the type of terrain that you're wanting to use them in. I will link this pair down below and some additional pairs that I think would be a really good fit for beginner snowshoers. I know a lot of rental companies actually rent snowshoes in addition to snowboards and skis, and so don't be afraid to rent snowshoes to go try it out for your first time and see if you like it. It's pretty straightforward. I'll show you, but you just slip your foot in. On this particular set, once your foot is in, you're gonna first tighten up the back. Make sure that you push your foot all the way to the front, and then tighten up the back strap, and then you'll tighten up these foot straps as well. Snowshoeing is the very first time that I've ever used any type of pole for hiking. I've never used them hiking, but if you're bringing poles, you do wanna make sure that you have the snow basket on them. That way your pole doesn't just go straight down into the snow and get lost. So you wanna make sure that you extend your poles. Uh-oh. that when you're standing up, your arm is at a right angle. And when you're using your poles, you want to make sure that you put your hand in the wrist strap. But in order to not just totally kill your grip strength, you'll use the wrist straps a little bit as you're going, and that will kind of help to put the pressure on the pole as well. I couldn't even believe it. The snow was so thick and so deep, but somehow you're just walking across like it's little cloud pillows, and I highly, highly recommend it. It was an amazing workout. The views were beautiful. The whole entire experience was fantastic. If you are looking to try snowshoeing, don't wait. Go try it. Get out there and create a life that you love, and I promise you will thank me later because it was absolutely amazing. So there you have it. There's my snowshoeing adventure. I've taught you all the things that I took and I wore, and then now you just need to get out there and do it yourself. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button down below, and go ahead and hit subscribe and make sure you sign up for alerts so that you can be the first one to know when I release a new video. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Mom, really sorry that I'm taking my clothes off on YouTube. I promise it's not what it sounds like. These gators are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these gators are gonna walk all over you.